suffering and distress. Every Buddha form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness is form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. Sariputta, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted, nor pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no forms, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, and no consciousness. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of my consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no age and death, and also no extinction of it, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva depends on Panchaparamita, and his mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist far apart from any perverted view. He dwells in nirvana, in the three worlds of Buddhas. He depends on Panchaparamita, and attained Buddhas Samkhya Sambodhi. Therefore, Nada Panchaparamita is a great transcendent mantra, is a great prime mantra, is a unmust mantra, is a supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering, and it should know proclaim the Panchaparamita mantra, proclaim the mantra which say Gate Gate Pararate Parasamgate Bodhisattva, Gate Gate Pararate Parasamgate Bodhisattva, Gate Gate Parasamgate Bodhisattva.
Not sure this thing's working.
Okay.
You can make it work.
Little battery.
Maybe the battery.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Thank you. Hello everyone, how are you? Hôm nay là ngày 9 tháng 6, ngày 9 tháng 7 năm 2025, trên tàu chiếc phương truyền gia bảo. Chúng ta học cái đoạn hôm nay là nói về trí tuệ, chuyển thức thành trí. Đó là cái điểm căn bản của bộ pháp thoại hôm nay. Trí tuệ chuyển hóa làm thành thức. Tri kiến càng nhiều thì tánh linh càng mờ. Mặt người nói lý khúc chiết, ngôn ngữ vi diệu, trọn là ở trong nhà quỷ tìm kế sống. chiêu đùa tinh hồn, đâu biết dẹp hết danh ngôn, quét sạch nghĩa lý, đem tất cả cội gốc lý lẽ bình nhật thường ngày, một lúc lật đổ hết sạch, mà trung gian chỉ giác và bát nhã quán là lặng lẽ tỉnh táo. Cho nên những lời nói khúc chiết, những ngôn ngữ vi diệu, lời hay lý giỏi, những người đó chỉ sống trong nhà quỷ mà thôi. Dùng ngôn ngữ cho hay, cho bay bướm, lý lẽ cho khéo léo, cũng chỉ là sống trong nhà quỷ và chiêu đùa với tinh hồn. Tinh hồn nghĩa là cái hồn yêu tinh, chứ không phải là trí tuệ, nghe là lý lẽ. Thành ra trí tuệ là phải gạt hết những gì? Là gạt hết những cái danh ngôn, đó là lời nói ngôn ngữ đấy. Quét sạch hết nghĩa lý, nên là đem tất cả những cái cội gốc lý lẽ thường ngày, một lúc lật đổ hết sạch, nghĩa là bỏ hết những lý lẽ, bỏ hết tất cả những ngôn ngữ hay khéo, mà trung gian chỉ giác là chỉ biết, và bát nhã nhân quán hay là dùng trí tuệ. Ở trung gian chỉ giác và bát nhã quán nghĩa là chỉ dùng cái giác và cái nhân quán của bát nhã làm lẽ, tức là chỉ mà tỉnh táo, tức là quán, nghĩa là luôn luôn lặng lẽ mà luôn luôn tỉnh táo. Ở đây nói về cái trí tuệ chuyển hóa làm thần thức. Đây là cái trí tuệ là cái tánh sáng suốt lặng lẽ. Mà cái tri kiến, ở đây nói cái tri kiến là cái thấy biết, học hiểu của mình càng nhiều thì cái tánh linh càng mờ. Nên là cái học hiểu thế gian, học hiểu ngoài mình càng nhiều mà mình không có tu tập thì cái trí nó càng mờ. Mặt người nói lý khúc chiết, nghĩa là người ta học thì lý luận nó rất là khúc chiết chặt chẽ, ngôn ngữ nó thì nó vi diệu, lập luận nó chặt chẽ khôn khéo, trọn là ở trong nhà quỷ. Ở đây nói về cái thức của thế gian. Còn chỉ nên trí thì cái này nó không có còn là phân biệt nữa, nó lặng lẽ mà nó sáng suốt. Còn kia nó loạn tưởng mà nó làm cho tâm mình nó mê mờ.
Today we were the lectures on ultimate wisdom of the Buddha. The differentiation between the Buddha wisdom and intellectual knowledge. They say that the more intellectual knowledge you attain, it is harder for you to attain the Buddha wisdom. Why is that? Because intellectual knowledge is based on dualism, right and wrong, right? Perspective. Like philosophy. There's a lot of philosophy out there, but no one's right. There's no right or wrong. There's no one philosophy, right? Because it's based on conditioning, based on your experience, and based on knowledge that's passed on. For example, a lot of knowledge that was intellectual or supposed to be correct knowledge 100 years ago, we no longer see it as knowledge. Right? Like people were so died because they said the earth wasn't flat at that time. Everybody thought the earth was flat, and anybody that says otherwise were persecuted for it, right? And there's many other examples of that, right? Or thought of the earth being the center of the universe, for example, is another example. So intellect knowledge is relative. It's relative on your perspective, on your culture, on a lot of things. Right? It's not perfection. It's not the true knowledge. The Buddha's wisdom is based on true knowledge, or based on the exact nature of things, regardless of where you're at, time, space, anywhere. It holds true. Even if you're on Mars or you're at another galaxy, the Buddha's knowledge is always true. It applies to everything, and it's not relative. And that knowledge is not based on intellectual arguments. It's not learned. It's based on experience and seeing for yourself. So what are those knowledge based on? The Four Noble Truths. Where does suffering come from? How does it come? How do we get rid of it? Like the second knowledge is impermanent. Nothing is permanent. Anything that arises will fade away. Any becoming will go away. Right? So, those are the Buddha knowledge, right? And see, what impermanence, what did I say? The Four Noble Truths, impermanence, non-self. Anitta, right? Non-self, which is, if you look at intellectual knowledge in any culture, even science itself, they see our body, yourself, there's this physical, there's this one self, right? Some people believe that, when you die, that's it. Some people believe different things, right? And we often act and react and live our lives based on this faulty knowledge. But the Buddha have shown that there is no self. We're transients in every aspect, in terms of physical, emotional, and mental, right? For example, if the body is permanent and would never grow, right? It changes all the time. In fact, what the science said, every 9 or 7 years, we have complete new set of cells. Whatever that we had before is no longer there. Right? It dies and goes away, and something reborn from that. Different cells replaces it. Right? On the mental state, right? But if you look at our mental state, we take on different personality all the time. Right? Different people will see us, identify us in a different way. Right? Your wife is going to identify you a certain way. If she was asked to describe you, she'll have a totally different description than a code, for example. Right? That's because we take on different roles. Right? State from state, even right now, 5 minutes from now, your state of mind is completely different. Right? So, based on those facts, and that fact itself doesn't matter if you were to go to Mars. Same thing, it applies, right? Impermanent, the law of impermanence applies. The law of the non-self, recognition of non-self applies. And so the Buddha, and right now we're talking in this, I'm giving a description, but still on an intellectual basis. We recognize this, we speak about it on a intellectual basis, right? But we don't see it that way. So awakening is be able to see those laws and really live it, understand it, not just intellectual. You're in that state where you see everything as is. Right? Does that make sense? Any so far?
Yeah, could I write down the Four Noble Truths? Could you go with that?
Oh, the Four Noble Truths?
Yeah.
See, English, let me see. Yeah.
The cause of suffering?
Yeah, the cause of suffering.
Oh no, suffering exists. The first one is...
Right, yeah, suffering
what is
exists.
Suffering,
Right.
number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second is the causes of suffering, why we suffer. Reason for suffering.
Okay, so the first one was suffering.
First
Yeah.
is not, yeah.
Suffering. Okay.
Second, what are the causes of suffering?
Mm-hmm.
Should we tell him 3 causes of suffering? Craving,
Yeah,
Craving.
right.
anger, and delusion.
Delusions, yeah.
So craving anger.
Craving
is
is
one.
one, anger
Oh, anger.
is the second,
Okay.
and delusion,
Delusion or ignorance
Those-
when you're
yeah.
not aware of.
or ignorance, yeah, delusion or ignorance. Those are the 3 causes of suffering.
And then the
Path.
way,
Mhm.
the way leading to end the suffering.
The what?
The way,
The path to end suffering.
Oh, the path. Okay.
Yeah. The Guru taught about
And
that.
if you look it up, Four Noble Truths, there's a lot of
there is a great deal of information on YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah. An eightfold path is
The Eightfold Path is the way to end suffering.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Có xin mời thầy.
Cho hỏi gì ạ?
Không ai có câu hỏi.
Cho hỏi gì? Ở đây là ngày quở, nên là mình cái thức phân biệt chuyển làm cái trí, ngày quở. Là mình làm sao mình chuyển cái trí tuệ, chuyển thức làm trí. Như khi mình cứ lý luận, lập luận cho khéo này kia, chạy theo cái ngôn từ, loạn tưởng. Nên khi mình chuyển thức thành trí rồi thì nó vừa lặng lẽ mà nó vừa tỉnh táo, sáng suốt. Còn khi nó tỉnh táo, nó sáng suốt mà nó loạn tưởng, nó nhạy bén, thấy gì cái là nó lý luận, nó lập luận rất là. Cho nên ngày chê, ngày quở, sao mình chuyển cái thức thành trí, nên tu tập thấy nghe hay biết mà nó không dính kẹt. Vì thấy mình mắt mình thấy cái lòng khởi lên phân biệt đúng sai phải quấy, rồi mình sân si phiền não, nó không có làm cho mình tỉnh táo sáng suốt. Rồi lý giải những người đó chỉ là sống trong nhà quỷ, là chạy theo cái bọn, sống theo bọn. Khi mình ngồi thì yên tĩnh, tỉnh sáng, lặng lẽ, sáng suốt, mà tự nhiên cái khởi lên cái điều gì cái bắt đầu mình lý luận, lập luận mình chạy theo. Nên khi ngồi thiền là phải lặng lẽ, mà phải sáng suốt, tỉnh táo. Mà khi mình ngồi mình tỉnh táo, sáng suốt, mà cũng phải lặng lẽ, thanh tịnh. Không phải ngồi tỉnh rồi bắt đầu lý luận, chạy theo cái thức, cái phân biệt. Thấy cái là mình khởi lên đúng sai, đẹp xấu. Nên khi mình tu tập, thấy cảnh vật bên ngoài, mình quay trở về cái nội tâm của mình. Biết rõ mà mình không có khởi lên cái phân biệt, so sánh, phải quấy tốt xấu. Mình biết rõ cái bản tánh của nó, quay thấy cảnh vật bên ngoài, mình biết rõ mình sao, mình đang thấy. Như mình ngồi thiền, giữa có cái niệm mình vừa khởi lên, khi mà cái niệm mình chưa khởi lên thì lúc đó mình sao, nó lặng lẽ, nó thanh tịnh, nó sáng suốt. Và sau khi mình có một niệm nó vừa khởi lên là cái tâm mình đã thành thức rồi. Cho nên khi mình cái tâm mình nó lặng lẽ thanh tịnh, nó sáng suốt, mình cứ về mình sống. Nó vừa khởi lên cái thức phân biệt là sai. Nên ngày bữa mình phải cái trí tuệ phải từ cái thức mình chuyển thành trí, chứ đừng có từ cái trí đó mà mình chuyển thành cái thức. Thấy nghe biết mình biết rõ, nhưng mà nó khởi lên cái thức, nó là cái phân biệt. Giống như mình mở bóng đèn sáng thì mình thấy rõ tất cả mọi vật, thì ngay đó thì dừng được lên. Ngay đó cái mình quên, cái mình chạy theo cái này là đẹp, cái này là xấu, đúng sai, khởi lên cái phân biệt. Rồi cái vui buồn người dần ghét nó theo nó, mà nó dẫn mình đi. Rồi thấy rõ cái thức đó để chi? Để mình quay về sống trí tuệ của mình đó. Chứ không phải là cái ngay nơi đó rồi cái mình chạy theo cái nghiệp vụ, quay để trở về cái lặng lẽ, cái sáng suốt mà nó hồn gì nó sẵn có ngay nên mình sống ngay chỗ đó. Nhiều khi cái mình học lý thuyết rồi cái mình đi tranh luận, hơn thua phải quấy, rồi mình chặt vô cái đó cho mình hay là đúng là giỏi, nên từ chỗ đó mình xem thường người này, xem thường người khác. Có khi mình dùng những lời nặng nhẹ với nhau, do cái thức đó nó dẫn mình đi, nó chuyển cái trí đó, nó chuyển thành thức. Nên sau khi mình học, mình qua cái đoạn này, Ngài dạy mình phải lấy cái chuyển cái thức đó thành trí, nó sống với tâm lặng lẽ thanh tịnh, mắt biết thấy, tai biết nghe, mũi biết ngửi, mình biết rõ ràng, mà không có cái thức phân biệt.
Okay. So, how do we move towards seeing the absolute truth? We can use our relative truth, or intellectual truth, or knowledge, learning the scripture, learning what the Buddha taught, right? That's knowledge, right? But still, until you yourself live in that knowledge, is still, to those that haven't awakened yet, is still intellectual. So we take those philosophy, we take those knowledge, and we apply it to our life. Right? So through the practice of meditation, we keep our mind in check. Don't allow it to run amok. Right? Oftentimes, when the mind is not mastered, you have no control of the mind. What happens is there's a lot of judgment. Judgment obscure your ability to see truth, absolute truth, or wisdom. Because we're always, arguing who's right and who's wrong. Right? Even in the context of Buddhism, you learn the scripture, people will, depend on their level of understanding, of level of practice, they will interpret it differently. And you can have arguments, right? So, it's when you learn the scripture, when you learn what the Buddha taught, the best way is to learn it and take that and apply it to yourself. Live your life in that way, right? Don't take it as knowledge to argue with other people. Because all you're going to do is you're going to run down this rabbit hole. Because it's all, each person awake themselves. Right? It is not the knowledge that awakes you. It is your being able to see it for yourself. The Buddha said, okay, whatever, I have all these teachings, don't just listen to me and don't just take it as is. You have to take it, you have to apply it to yourself, you have to practice it. If it doesn't work for you, then it's just garbage. See my other teaching. See if you can find the truth through those other teachings. Right? So that means we have to practice. Okay, so meditation keeps our mind in check, so that it doesn't run amok. And then when we have that calm state of mind, then we can contemplate the knowledge that the Buddha gave us and reflect back on us to see if it's true. Right? That's the only way you can move towards awakening or enlightenment. Enlightening, the word enlightenment just means that you are awakened from delusions. You are seeing the truth, absolute truth, and you are embodied in that truth, or that truth is embodied in you. That's what an enlightened person is. Right? So we practice meditation so that our mind doesn't run around. We have the calmness, we contemplate on what the Buddha teaches us, and we reflect back on us, on ourselves, reflect back on our experience. And as you live your life, each moment is a place of practice. Let's say when you have an argument, anger comes up, okay? You stop, you reflect back. Do you see your anger? Right? Do you see how it manifests you? Right? Anger, remember the noble truth, okay? Anger is the cause of suffering. You know? And so what is suffering? You don't feel good, right? Suffering doesn't mean like you're being tortured. Okay, it has a wide range. Suffering means a wide range. Discontentment is an aspect, subtle or suffering. Complete blowing up anger to the point you want to kill somebody. That's really, probably one of the extreme side of suffering. Okay, so the Buddha teach the Four Noble Truths. What is suffering? What causes suffering? What is the path to suffering? And then embody, yeah. And so when we're suffering, at the point, in the moment that we're suffering, can we reflect back? Can you see your suffering? Can you see the cause of your suffering? And then what can you do to end that suffering? You know, based on the Eightfold Path, there are instruction in those 8 paths to help you deal with your suffering. So that's how you practice, and as you practice this, you gain that wisdom each time to the point, one of these days, you're able to see things as they are. Suffering doesn't occur. Right? The same situation may happen, but you don't suffer. Right? Because you accept it, you let it go, able to let go, and letting go here, not just intellectual letting go, you actually, it doesn't penetrate you. It doesn't affect you anymore. That's the letting go. It's not it's not a forceful thought. They say, okay, I need to let go. But because you see the truth, seeing the truth gives you that power to let go. It is when we don't see the truth, we fall to one side or the other of the argument that we suffer. Once we find the truth, once we see the truth for ourselves, based on our experience, past experience, and how we practice and how we apply ourselves, that situation, whatever it may be, no longer affects you, no longer cause you to suffer. So, one thing I want to say is that don't think that meditation will get you to be a Buddha. Meditation just helps you keep your mind in check so that you have some clarity to see things as it is, without your biases in there, without putting your own lens of experience in there that obscure the truth. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
So I wrote down absolute truth, meditate first. Seeing the truth gives you the power to let go. Meditation gives you clarity to see things as it is without your biases in there to obstruct your view, basically.
Right, obstruct your view, yeah. So you begin to see things as it is, as it happens, as it occurs, right, in the present moment. Or later on, when there's calmness, you can reflect back and contemplate what happened to give you a better sense, a better view of things. It's sort of like when you're in a heated argument, right? You're always right? You hold on to your view, your perspective, and the other person wrong. You get in a heated argument, but then, maybe days later, you reflect back on that and say, well, yeah, maybe I wasn't correct. That person has a point, and you start to see things as is. Now you start to see both perspectives, and you have better understanding. You have better clarity, and that leads you to, that's not a big deal, right? Or, if you were wrong, you apologize, not a big deal. The end of suffering is there as well.
That suffering can last for 15, 20 years if people are upset with somebody still, or maybe a brother took the shoes when they were young and still mad at the brother for 20
Right.
years.
So, that's another word for that's trauma, right? Trauma is being stuck in some perspective that you hold on to that suffering for a long time, and you can't escape it. It keeps recurring back, and you're reliving it. That's trauma.
So trauma from being stuck in a perspective, right?
Right, being stuck in your idea of something that caused you to suffer, and there's no way, you don't find a way out of it. And so every time that you are in a similar situation, that pops back up and feed into that suffering. So in a Buddhist perspective is called suffering upon suffering. The suffering that creates the suffering. Xong rồi thầy.
Người câu hỏi gì không? Are you question?
Any questions?
So we're good. So suffer upon suffering. What's the best way to move forward from that? Just still meditation. Just see for what it is.
First, you have to recognize that you are suffering. So you have to look at, okay, how am I suffering? Mentally, physically, and emotionally, right? Right. Let's say when you're angry, right? Certain part of your body tense up, right? Your breath is short, right? And all that there's tension, and the mind just thinks negative. Everything comes out. All thoughts are negative. So you can take a breath. Meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit and meditate. Meditate happens can be done at any time, right? So maybe the practice we often use is taking 3 conscious breath. That releases tension in the body, right? That reverses that body suffering. Right? And when you take that 3 conscious breath, your breath slows down. Now you don't have short breath, right? That releases tension. And now when you're focusing on your breath, when you have a conscious breathing, then you're diverting your thought into watching the breath. So there, you're separating away from your suffering. That's how you start. Bây giờ anh hỏi là lúc mình đang trong cái hoàn cảnh khổ, mình nên làm gì, cách nào mà dễ nhất để thoát ra cái khổ đó?
Khổ gì?
Dạ.
Khổ gì?
Bất cứ khổ gì, cái gì mình đang khổ đó.
Trong tài sắc danh thực thì dính cái nào?
Anh chị
Hết
nói
luôn.
khổ thôi, lúc mình đang khổ, mình đang có chuyện gì xảy ra hiện tại bây giờ, cái gì trong đầu óc mình ví dụ có cái chuyện gì xảy ra mình nhớ lại.
Thì ngay đó là cái thức đó. Mình khởi lên cái thức công việc, nó quay lại cái cuồng phiên mà mình thấy nghe hay biết là đối với ngũ dục có thế gian mà mình bám chấp, mình lý luận chạy theo nó, khởi lên công việc mình sẽ đau khổ. Mà muốn hết đau khổ mình quay về mình tu tập, chuyển thức ở thành trí. Để mình ngồi thiền, mình tịnh tâm, mình tu tập để mình nhận rõ biết đâu là thật, đâu là giả, thì mình sẽ hết chuyển hóa cái khổ thành cái niềm an lạc.
So, I'll give you the rundown of the mind, how it works. So, we have our senses, right? And they're objects of sense. Like the eye, what you see are the objects of the eye sense. Sounds are objects of the ear sense. So when they're in contact,
Can I record this? Just so I have it for
oh, sure.
It's recorded, yeah.
Oh, it's recording? Okay.
Posted.
Yeah.
Alright, cool, thank you.
Yeah. So when the object of the sense and the sense are in contact, let's say if I open my eye, I see something, that's contact, right? Or I hear a sound, then that's a contact, right? The contact. Then there's cognition there. Right? If we were neutral to everything, then nothing happens. Right? You know. But let's say if I see something and I really like it, okay? Now there's consciousness there. And there is, in your mind, it creates an object of that, whatever that is, however it creates. She would see the same thing, would have something else in her mind, not exactly the same thing. So we're all different, right? And then, there are three experiences can happen, only three. It's either a pleasant experience, an unpleasant experience, or a neutral experience. If it's something that you like, then it's a pleasant experience, right? Now, if you were able to just recognize, okay, I have a pleasant experience, that's it. Then the mind stops, it doesn't go beyond that. Now, if you didn't have the awareness of what's going on in your mind, pleasant experience will create greed, wanting, right? So that's considered greed, we call it greed. Wanting, you want it, right? And then when you want it, but then you can't have it, that brings, then suffering occurs, yeah. Because you want something you can't have. So, and then the mind will fabricate a story. I want it, I don't have it, okay, whatever that story that may be, you get lost in that story and you suffer in that mind. Right? It's only when you're able to see that what's going on in your mind, what's happening, that you can escape suffering. So let's assume I see something, I get attracted to it, I want it, I can't have it. I build up the story of my mind, how I'm going to get it and all this, right? I get lost in that. I'm no longer present. I may still be looking at the thing, but I'm living in the mind. And I'm suffering through that. I'm discontent, so I'm suffering. Now, but then all of a sudden, I recognize it, okay. I'm just running in my mind. The moment that I notice that, the suffering stops. Right away. Because I see the truth, right? The truth is, okay, the object is there, but what I see is, okay, I was in my mind, I wasn't present. The moment I see that for myself, then I see the truth of what's happening. Then it no longer take a grip of me. I no longer suffer because now I see the truth. Now, can I still suffer? Yes, if I don't keep my awareness, my consciousness here. If I don't stay present, I may get lost in that story again, and I suffer again until I completely escape it. Let's say, here's another example. I'm living my life. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get that. All of a sudden, you hear a really loud sound right behind you that startled you. You take your attention away. You're no longer suffering, right? It's the same way. Once you see truth, or when you take your attention away from what's causing you to suffer, you stop suffering. Does that make sense?
Còn câu hỏi nào không?
Không còn.
Thank you everyone listening and meditation and judging and listen Dharma Talk. Thank you.
And lecture.
Chúng sanh